Greetings, fellow dungeon delvers, and welcome to Dorans and Dragons, where we work together to come up with Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition builds for your favorite League of Legends champions. Today we're building Amumu, the Sad Mummy. To this day, no one knows the true origin of Amumu, but the three main tales have a common theme: death, rebirth, and eternal loneliness. Whether his fault or not, Amumu is cursed to wander the desert, weeping for the kinship he will likely never find. Before we get started with the build, go ahead and like the video and hit that subscribe button so you're always notified when we release our builds. We'd like to take a minute and thank our awesome patrons over on Patreon who support us every month. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on and Amumu's W toggled off. If you like our videos and want to support the channel, come join us over on Patreon today for just $1 to get access to our awesome Discord community where we talk League and D&D all day long. Alright, now let's get into it. Here's a quick preview of the build. For race, we're going with Reborn. Per usual, our stats are going to be determined using the standard array. For our stat priorities, we're going to max Constitution and dump Charisma. We do have a multi-class requirement of 13 in Strength and Wisdom. Our leveling path is going to be levels 1 through 5 in Barbarian. We'll dip into Cleric for 2 levels, then pick up a level in Druid, and then back to Barbarian to finish out the build. Amumu's passive, Cursed Touch, will be Path to the Grave. Our Q, Bandage Toss, is going to come from our Whip and Charger. His W, Despair, comes from Storm Aura. Our E, Tantrum, will come from our Rage and Reckless Attack. And finally, we get our ultimate, Curse of the Sad Mummy, from Entangle. For race, we're going with Reborn. Reborn have the advantage of being able to choose their size, and since Amumu is almost certainly a Yordle, we'll go small. We're going to get a +2 to our Constitution and a +1 to our Wisdom. Being Reborn gives us an ancestral legacy from our past life. We'll pick up 2 skill proficiencies here, Religion and Survival. Deathless Nature is going to give us a bunch of little bonuses, including advantage on saves against disease and being poisoned, poison damage resistance, not needing to eat, drink, or breathe, and you get to be designated Camp Watch, since your long rest only takes 4 hours as long as you just chill and you can remain conscious the whole time. Knowledge from a past life is our last Reborn feature, and will let you roll a d6 after you make a skill check and add it to your roll. This has a charge system based on your proficiency bonus, but it might give you the edge you need in a crucial moment. We created a custom background for Amumu called Sad Boy. We're going to pick up skill proficiencies with History and Arcana and the Bad Reputation feature. No matter where you go, people are afraid of you due to your reputation, meaning they'll avoid you any chance they can. For stats, we're going for the balance of the new Q change Amumu got with the standard array. Roll if you want to, just keep at least a 13 in Strength and Wisdom for multi-classing purposes. We're going for full tank Amumu, so we'll open up with a 15 in Constitution. Strength is going to be after that for our Tantrums. Dexterity will be next for our little shuffling feet and hurtling through the air with our Q. Then we'll choose Wisdom for multi-classing purposes and lessons learned over the ages. We'll have an average intelligence and dump Charisma because there's a reason he's been alone this whole life, and it's not just his curse. The only piece of equipment we're going to use for this build is a whip, which we're going to flavor as stretchy bandages. It's going to give us an attack range of 10 feet. We're going to combine this with the charger feat to get our bandage toss. Alrighty, let's kick off the build with some levels in Barbarian. Barbarians have that sweet D12 hit die and give us proficiency with light and medium armor, shields, and all weapons. We're also going to get our Rage, which is going to give us the damage resistance for our E. As a bonus action, we get to switch from Sad Mummy to Mad Mummy, giving us a few benefits, like advantage on our strength checks and saves, scaling bonus damage on our strength-based melee attacks, and, the best part, resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Unfortunately though, while we're raging, we can't cast our ultimate, so ideally you want to pop that first, wait till it's fulfilled its purpose, then feel free to rage out. Our final level 1 feature, Unarmored Defense, is going to give us some durability without the need for pesky armor. It's going to let our AC be calculated using 10 plus our Dex and Con modifiers. It'll be 14 for now, but we'll max out at 17 by the end of the build. Second level Barbarians gain Reckless Attack, which is going to be the damage portion of Tantrum. I mean, Reckless Attack sounds like a Barbarian having a Tantrum by itself, but essentially on the first attack of your turn, you can choose to do so recklessly, giving you advantage on all attacks this turn, but giving everyone advantage against you until the start of your next turn. We'll also learn Danger Sense, turning us into Baby Faker by giving us advantage on any dex saves against an effect we can see. Level 3 Barbarians choose their Rage flavor, Primal Path. We're going with the Storm Herald Rage flavor with a hint of Desert to get our W and a Sunfire Cape on top. Storm Heralds gain a Storm Aura, which is a 10-foot circle that surrounds you while you're in Rage mode. Choosing Desert is going to let us deal AoE fire damage to all creatures in your circle as a bonus action with no save. Now it's only 2 fire damage for now, but it's saveless and it scales with level, dealing 5 fire damage by level 15. And honestly, depending on how many creatures are in your aura, this can do a decent amount of damage. 4th level Barbarians get the first ability score improvement of the build. As always, we're going to break down all of our ASIs here so you can choose for yourself along the way. At Barbarian 4, we're going to pick up the Charger feat so we can complete our queue. So the way it'll work is, you dash forward, and make sure you cover at least 10 feet in a straight line before firing your whip out. You can either choose to shove the creature back 10 feet, or gain 5 flat damage on the whip attack. At Barbarian 8, we'll round off our Constitution and Dexterity for a +1 per level to our health pool, and a +2 to our AC. At Barbarian 12, we'll max out our Constitution with 2 points, bringing our AC to 17 and bumping our HP again. And finally at Barbarian 16, we'll crank the max health pool to 11 with the Tough feat. This is going to give us +2 hit points per level, giving us nearly 280 hit points at max level. Adding in our inherent defensive capabilities as a Barbarian, we're going to be tanky AF. Level 5 Barbarians gain fast movement and extra attack. Fast movement is going to bump our base speed by 10 feet as long as we're not wearing heavy armor, which we definitely won't be. And extra attack is just going to let us make 2 attacks per turn instead of 1, giving us even more value out of our reckless attack. Alrighty, now that we hit the magical extra attack stepping off point for martial classes, let's go grab some other abilities. Starting with 2 levels in Cleric. Clerics have a D8 hit die and give us no new proficiencies. We will choose the Grave domain to worship, and pick up both the Circle of Mortality and Eyes of the Grave features. Circle of Mortality is going to let us use the max possible healing die rolls when we're healing a creature at 0 hit points. In our Runeterra D&D game we stream on Twitch, we actually just used this to bring my Zealot bar back from the brink, and let me survive a turn longer than I might have if our Cleric had just rolled the die. Eyes of the Grave is going to let Amumu use an action to detect any undead within 60 feet, so we can try to make a friend. Spoiler alert, it's going to be a no from them, dog. 2nd level Clerics gain their Channel Divinity, and we're going to pick up our passive with Path to the Grave. As an action, you can choose a creature within 30 feet and tell it your life story, making it wish death upon itself and making it vulnerable against the next damage it takes, meaning it'll deal double damage. Make sure you use your bonus action to hit it with fire damage from your Storm Aura before you use this, so you don't waste it on that little bit of fire damage. And now we'll switch over to Druid for a level to pick up our ultimate. Druids also have a D8 hit die and give us no new proficiencies. We will learn the Druidic language though, which will let other Druids use hidden messages to ghost us so they don't have to tell us in person they don't like us. We'll pick up our ultimate with Entangle. Grasping bandages instead of weeds and vines will sprout from the ground in a 20-foot square. Any creature in the area has to succeed on a strength save or get wrapped up and restrained. They can try to make the strength check on their turn as an action, breaking out on success. Remember, this is a concentration spell, so don't rage until all of your targets are out of it. And we're back over to Barbarian levels to finish out the build. 6th level Storm Heralds get Storm Soul, giving them a nice passive effect based on their Storm Aura flavor. Desert is going to give us resistance to fire damage, the ability to endure extreme heat, and we can set flammable objects on fire with a touch. Infernal Amumu is pleased. Level 7 Barbarians gain Feral Instinct, giving us advantage on initiative rolls, and the ability to act on a surprise round as long as we use our bonus action to rage before we do anything else in the combat. Level 9 Barbarians get Brutal Critical, allowing you to roll an extra damage die when determining extra damage for a crit. This will scale up to 2 die at level 13 and 3 die at level 17. 10th level Storm Heralds gain Shielding Storm. This is going to extend the fire resistance from our Storm Soul to our allies as long as they're within your Storm Aura, which is a big FU to any fire dragons or fire-based casters your DM has cooked up for you. Yes, cooked up was an intentional pun. Sorry if it makes you steamed. Level 11 Barbarians get a Guardian Angel in the form of Relentless Rage. Anytime you're knocked to 0 hit points, but not killed outright, you can make a DC 10 con save to drop to 1 hit point instead. Every time you use this feature, the DC increases by 5 until you take a long rest, which knocks it back to 10. 14th level Storm Heralds add some oomph to their Storm aura with Raging Storm. For Desert flavor, we're going to get a Thornmail-esque reaction anytime someone attacks us within our aura. That reaction will force a dex save on that creature and make it take fire damage equal to half our Barbarian level if they fail. Level 15 Barbarians gain Persistent Rage, allowing us to maintain our rage indefinitely unless we want to end it or fall unconscious. The only 2 levels left are going to be our 16th level ASI and Brutal Critical's 3rd extra die, which we already covered earlier. Alright, now that we've completed the build, let's see how we did. First, the good. The best part of this build by far is the insane tankiness and amount of AoE damage we're going to be dishing out passively. Giving him a 10-foot aura of burning your teammates will also really help with that stay away from him vibe that everyone seems to have regarding Amumu. Now the bad. The main drawbacks here are not being able to cast and maintain your ult while raging. You also have the obvious issue of little magical utility and no range, but these are to be expected with this kind of character. So, what'd you think? I've included a link to this build via D&D Beyond in the description below, as well as Amazon links to the books used in the build. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider supporting us on Patreon. We have a few awesome rewards, and you get access to our great Discord community. We plan on churning out one League Champion build every week. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll catch you on the Rift, or in the Forgotten Realms.